Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all, and let's just get right into this review. So part 2 of the Baddies Caribbean reunion picks up where the last one left off, where Meatball was literally getting into it with everybody. I mean, she got into multiple different fights with Tinkaabella. She also ended up getting into a fight with Jayla and Slim Too Bad. And look, I'm not trying to be mean, but the fights between Tinkaabella and Meatball were not good at all. I would say that neither one of them won either of the fights that they had. However, I can say that Meatball kind of took over the fight and won the round that happened at the very beginning of this reunion, because she ended up getting Tinkaabella down on the couch and she was able to take control of the fight. However, the fights between the two of them were not good, and honestly, I'm sorry to say it, but Tinkaabella cannot fight. I mean, Meatball can't really fight either, but Tinkaabella definitely cannot fight. I don't know why she puts her head down every time she tries to fight, and it's like she's putting her head down because it seems like she's trying to kind of take control of the person and try to get them on the floor. That's what it looks like, because she pushes forward into the person that she's fighting with her head down. So I don't know if that's what she's trying to do, but it's just not a good look. I honestly don't know why the crowd was cheering for Meatball though. Maybe it was because even though she wasn't anybody's favorite person this season, she stood 10 toes down by herself on her own at this reunion, because she had a lot of people against her. I mean, she did end up getting into a fight with Slim Too Bad, which that fight was terrible too. I don't know how anybody's saying either one of them won that fight between the two of them, because honestly, it was not good and neither one of them won in my opinion. And then the fight between Jayla and Meatball wasn't really good either, to be honest with you. I feel like people overhyped Jayla as a fighter because they saw her fight on the Bad Girls Club, and she was fighting girls who couldn't really fight in the first place, in my opinion, on the show. So I feel like that's the reason why Jayla's fans kind of hype her fighting up a little bit. But to me, this fight between her and Meatball was not good either. Now, I'm sorry, but the crowd chanting for Meatball and her dancing after she got into a fight with Jayla was absolutely hilarious to me. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Meatball at all, but she was definitely funny during parts of this reunion. But Tinkaabella ends up coming back on stage after her third fight that she had with Meatball, and she starts swinging around that really big pencil that Sapphire walks around with, and she starts asking people if they noticed during the season that Meatball was acting funny towards her. And so Meatball got so annoyed that she picked up a chair and she hit Tinkaabella with it. And I was like, wow, like this is getting really crazy at this point, because now they're picking up objects and hitting each other with it. So that was crazy to me that they even allowed Meatball to hit Tinkaabella with a chair. However, it was kind of funny to watch, but I don't think they should be doing that, because honestly, if you hit somebody the wrong way with a chair like that, they could end up severely injured. But at this point, Tinkaabella is on the floor rolling around on her back, and she ends up getting picked up by security and carried out. At this point, she was just playing around, but in the trailer for the reunion, I thought that somebody was really having a seizure, because you hear Saucy Santana yell out that somebody was having a seizure, but it was just him joking around with Tinkaabella, so I'm glad that nobody was actually having one. But at some point, Meatball starts crying, and Tommy has to go over there and try to calm her down, because Meatball is saying that she wants people to mind her business about what's going on between her and Tinkaabella, which I don't understand why she's telling people to mind their business, because we all watched the show and we saw what went on between the two of them. If they didn't want any of us to know that they had issues, then they should have pretended like they didn't have any on the show, because they made their business public, so now it's public for everybody to talk about. But she started yelling about how she doesn't want to be friends with Tinkaabella anymore, and that things are a lot deeper than they seem, because for us, we feel like it was just jealousy with Meatball because she didn't get the recognition that Tinkaabella got, and Tinkaabella got her Baddies chain before her. But according to Meatball, it's more than just that. I truly don't know. Maybe something did happen, and maybe Tinkaabella did do something wrong to Meatball at some point. However, based on the show, it definitely did look like Meatball was jealous of Tinkaabella. Now, Saucy Santana ends up asking Diamond the Body to come on stage, and he's super excited because he said that Diamond the Body was his favorite this season. She was definitely a lot of people's favorites, because even though she was kind of annoying and she did things for the camera, she said things that everybody was thinking but nobody was willing to say. So I definitely found her very entertaining at some points during this season. Now, she was talking a lot of shit on social media about people, specifically Tesehki, and I truly don't think that she thought this whole thing through, because she ends up coming on stage. She's dressed in this really over-the-top pink outfit from head to toe, and she starts asking who's ready to fight, if we're gonna fight or if we're gonna talk. And that's when Tesehki jumped up and she said that they had to fight because of the things that, you know, Diamond the Body was saying online about Tesehki. Now, I don't really know what Diamond the Body was saying about Tesehki because honestly, I don't really keep up with what they do on social media. However, apparently she was talking a lot of shit about Tesehki and she was kind of trolling her on social media. So now she has to deal with the consequences of her actions. And I honestly do feel like Diamond the Body let the fans amp her up a little bit too much. Because Tesehki and Diamond the Body square up at this point, and that's when Diamond the Body rips her own wig off her head and she swings it at Tesehki. I don't know what she thought that that was going to do, but the fight did kind of start off a little bit slow. Tesehki was swinging at Diamond the Body and Diamond the Body kept backing up and she was trying to swing on Tesehki, but it really was not working. And Tesehki was definitely faster than Diamond the Body, so she was able to catch her a few times in the face. And at some point, Diamond the Body ended up falling backwards, and that's when Tesehki really took off on Diamond the Body. So when Diamond the Body stood up, you can see that her face was bleeding, her mouth was bleeding, and her tooth was out of her mouth. That was crazy. Like, I don't think that she thought she was gonna get beat up like that, and that's the reason why she was trolling Tesehki on social media. But I think she learned her lesson this time. And see, this is why I don't understand why people are constantly saying every season that Tesehki is boring because she's not really getting into any drama. And I think that the reason why she kind of tries to stay out of drama and doesn't try to fight is because she knows what she's capable of when she fights. So she only fights when she feels like she needs to or she has to. And so I feel like that's probably the reason why she kind of chills out when she's on the show. And Saucy Santana seemed really disappointed in Diamond the Body because he really liked her this season and he was amping her up before she got on stage. And then she got there and she ended up getting beat up by Tesehki. Now, the crazy thing about it is that she got her lip busted open and she was missing a tooth and she still came back on stage to fight Slim Too Bad. Now, the two of them ended up getting into a fight and I really don't think that Slim Too Bad won that fight. Honestly, I don't think Diamond the Body or Slim Too Bad won that fight. To me, it wasn't good to begin with. I know Slim Too Bad was saying that she had to prove herself because the last time her and Diamond the Body fought this season, you know, she kind of lost that fight and she was claiming that it was because she was drunk, so she wanted to redeem herself. But honestly, the fight between the two of them really wasn't good. I'm not saying that Slim did terrible in the fight between her and Diamond. She definitely got a few hits in on Diamond the Body that we were able to clearly see. However, to me, the fight just really wasn't good. And then Gretchen ends up getting introduced to come on the stage, and Jayla already had a stank look on her face because obviously her and Gretchen were beefing this entire season because of Gretchen constantly saying the N-word. And so the two of them ended up getting into a really heated back and forth. And then Gretchen ends up jumping up and she's ready to fight Jayla. So the two of them start fighting each other and Scotty gets up, and I don't know if Scotty was trying to break up the fight, but Callie ends up running over there and she swings on Jayla while Jayla is fighting Gretchen, and then security ends up taking Callie away. And Saucy Santana, in my opinion, was right. It seemed like Scotty and Jayla did not want to fight Callie because when Callie swung on Jayla, that's when Scotty should have swung on, you know, Callie because that's supposed to be her friend. So to me, I think that Callie was wrong for jumping in the fight between Jayla and, you know, Gretchen. I don't feel like she should have because it was a one-on-one fight. However, I feel like Scotty really didn't have Jayla's back in that situation because as soon as, you know, Callie ran up and she swung on Jayla, that's when Scotty should have swung on her. Now, the first fight between Jayla and Gretchen, to me, they were just holding each other and they really weren't doing too much swinging on each other. But I will say that Jayla definitely overpowered Gretchen during that fight. I don't know if it's because she's a better fighter or because, you know, Gretchen is really skinny and small. I'm not going to use the small excuse that a lot of people like to use. I'm just saying that that could be why Jayla was able to overpower her during the first fight. Now, they do end up fighting again, and this time the fight between the two of them gets crazy. Like, Jayla ends up getting Gretchen onto the couch and she's on top of her, but apparently Gretchen must have been swinging on Jayla when Jayla had her on the couch because Jayla's face was all red and she definitely had a lot of scratches. Now, the two of them ended up on the floor this time, okay? And you can see Gretchen just digging into Jayla's face, scratching her and everything. And usually I wouldn't be okay with somebody scratching up somebody's face during a fight. However, if somebody keeps trying to fight you continuously, once you fight them, to me, there really isn't that many rules in a fight. So to me, I feel like Gretchen felt like she was doing what she had to do in that situation. And honestly, Jayla's tooth came out. I don't know if it was a real tooth or it was an implant tooth, but either way, there was a tooth that came out of her mouth and she was definitely bleeding inside of her mouth. I don't know if Gretchen hit her in her mouth and that's why the tooth popped out, or if Gretchen pulled it out of her mouth because of the way that she was digging her face and mouth. So I really don't know how that happened, but I did see Jayla pick her tooth up off the floor. Now, after Saucy Santana and Janisha are able to calm things down a little bit, that's when Asian Doll, Roelly, and Anna end up coming out on stage. And honestly, Anna had a lot of apologies that she was giving out to people because I guess on social media she was talking a lot of shit. So Callie ended up confronting Anna because she felt like Anna was coming for her character by saying that she was telling two different stories about what happened between her and Mariah Lynn's mom. And honestly, I don't feel like Anna owed Callie an apology because I honestly do feel like Anna was right in that situation. I feel like Callie was telling two different stories, even though Callie swore up and down during this reunion that she did not tell two different stories. She absolutely did, in my opinion. And then I didn't even know that Anna and Slim Too Bad had issues, but Slim Too Bad was saying that she needed an apology from Anna because Anna apparently was trying to say that she did something that she didn't do and that wasn't true. So Anna did end up giving her an apology. Honestly, I'm glad that they squashed that because I honestly don't care about a beef between Slim Too Bad and Anna. Now, I honestly ended up forgetting that Tommy and Roelly had words with each other on social media before, but Tommy ended up bringing it up because as soon as Roelly came on stage, Tommy started slurring her words, basically trying to ask Roelly what the problem was between the two of them. And Roelly really didn't want to talk to Tommy because you could tell that Tommy was drunk. So she was trying to brush off the conversation with her, but then she started saying that the reason why she has an issue with Tommy is because Tommy was talking about her on social media over a situation that Tommy caused. Apparently, they ended up going to London to go to a Chris Brown show, Roelly, Natalie, and Tommy. And when they were backstage, Tommy ended up seeing that, Chris Brown's son was in one of the rooms. So she apparently pushed the door open and was trying to look at the baby. And that's when security ended up swarming them and basically rushed them. And that's when, Roelly felt some type of way because Tommy ended up leaving and her and Natalie were left to pick up the pieces. I mean, they said that Tommy posted dessert on social media. So while she was having dessert, Roelly and Natalie were talking to police. So I can understand why Roelly would have an issue with Tommy because I would have an issue with her after something like that happened as well. But I definitely feel like there's going to end up being a fight between Roelly and Tommy because Biggie ends up getting up and giving Roelly a hug. And obviously, Tommy and Biggie claim that they have a friendship. So Tommy was annoyed at the fact that Biggie went and gave Roelly a hug. So Roelly starts kind of going off on Tommy a little bit because she feels like she's acting immature about the situation. And this part was funny to me because Tommy tried to insult Roelly. She said that she hadn't seen Roelly in a long time, but she looks exactly the same. And that's an insult to Roelly because Roelly has had a lot of work done on her body since then. So you can tell that Tommy was trying to be shady. So that's when Roelly ended up being shady back and told her that she looks very much the same too, drunk and high. And I thought that was funny. I'm sorry. I feel like Roelly ate her up on that because Tommy was definitely drunk and high and she was trying to insult Roelly and Roelly came back with it. So to me, Roelly ended up winning that back and forth between the two of them. Now, look, I was skeptical at first about Saucy Santana being the host of this reunion, but he's done a good job so far. And part of the reason why he's done so well is because he actually watched the show. Every time they have a host, every other time, they don't watch the show. So they don't know what to say or what questions to ask. So when Anna came on stage, he started asking her who she came to the reunion to fight. And she only said that she wanted to fight Noo-noo. However, Saucy Santana brought up the fact that because, she ended up jumping Kiva, that she's going to have to fight Kiva as well. And he made sure to tell Anna that because she jumped Kiva, if Kiva tries to fight her, he doesn't want to hear her saying that she's too small because she wasn't too small to jump the girl. And that's exactly how I felt when I watched that part of the season when she jumped Kiva, because it's like you were claiming that you were too small and everybody was saying that you were too small for her to fight, but you jumped the girl. So now she's going to have to stand on that during this reunion. However, Noo-noo ends up coming on stage and she's dressed to fight and the two of them end up squaring up immediately. And Anna was keeping up in the first round with Noo-noo, although I will say, in my opinion, and I watched it 3 times in slow motion, that Noo-noo definitely won that first round between her and Anna. However, Anna was definitely keeping up, which I was surprised about. Now, the second round to me was a tie between the two of them because they definitely kept up with each other and Anna did a pretty good job. I was not expecting her to do as well as she did in the second round, but she definitely kept up with Noo-noo. So to me, the second round was a tie. That's just my opinion, but you can think differently if you want to. I'm just saying I watched it in slow motion. Now, as the replacements are being called out to the stage, that's when Jayla comes out of nowhere and she tries to fight Gretchen again. And that's when Callie runs up and she tries to fight Jayla as well. So I don't know if something's going to end up happening between the two of them in the last part of the reunion, but I don't know. All I know is at the very end of this reunion, when the replacements came on stage, Jo ends up swinging on Biggie, and I was confused by that because to me they didn't have any beef this season, and I don't know if anything happened between the two of them on social media. But I was confused as to why she swung on Biggie of all people, because I know that she has beef with Meatball. However, I'm not really opposed to somebody swinging on Biggie because Biggie has done it to other people throughout this season. I'm just confused as to why Jo was the one to do it. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies Caribbean. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all, and until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.